Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profits Show. I'm so glad that you guys are here with me today. My name is Jim Landers, and my mission it's simple. I help portrait photographers like you make a living, an incredible living doing what they love. Each week, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. Oh man, got some good stuff in store for you today. Uh, I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I hope the things that you've started to do already this week are causing great things to happen. That you're seeing a bright light at the end of your tunnel, so that you're continuously energized to head in that direction that you want to go. Thank you so much for investing your time with me today to go over what we have planned, and that is how a busy person makes 10,000 or more per month as a portrait photographer. Now, before I move into that, I want to encourage you guys to interact. So you can see going across the screen right now. We use a platform called StreamYard so that we can simulcast to multiple different places. We simulcast to 5 different Facebook pages, 2 different YouTube channels, and 1 LinkedIn page. But because of that, I can't see you, and you can't see everybody else. You can only see those who are there with you, and maybe not even then. So it may look like you're kind of alone. But what this does is it causes me to be able to simulcast this to multiple places. But in order for me to see you and know to know who you are, know that you're here, or when you make a comment or when you click that like button, for me to know who it is that did that, you've got to grant StreamYard permission. Now, if you've already done it, you probably don't have to do it again unless you're on a new device. But if you haven't done that yet, take a moment, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. You see it going across the screen right now. StreamYard.com/Facebook. And that will give Facebook users permission. It won't help the YouTube and LinkedIn, but that's okay. So again, that's StreamYard.com/Facebook. Now, if you're watching live, do me a favor. Let me know that you're watching live. I want you to put in the comments right now, #live. Now, I can see a few of you have already done that, so that's fantastic. Thank you. #live tells me that you are watching, that you are here with me right now. Now, if you're watching this down the line, you're watching a replay, please enter in #replay. That way I know the difference. I can see that difference. Now, throughout the presentation today, I want you to interact. I want you uh, comment. I want you to ask questions, and I'm happy to answer those questions live if I can fit them in. I can't always, but I'll come back to them later if I can. And I do look back over the comments from the shows at most of the different places that we simulcast to. I don't always get around to all of them. Sorry about that. So you can feel free to reach out to me at Jim@LandersPhotoschool.com. That's Jim@LandersPhotoschool.com. Now, I also encourage you to share this. Share what we're doing here so that others know about this also. If you feel like this is of value to you and you wouldn't be here if you didn't, then share this with others. The goal of the Portrait Profit Show is so that all of us are lifted, so that all photographers are making a fantastic income, have a great business, are able to live off of it if that's what they choose to do. And when we lift this up so that everyone knows, then everyone is benefited. Now, not everyone's going to see it. You're going to affect a small group, but affect that small group purposefully. Hit the share button right now. Hit that share button. Let other people know about this show. Let them know you're watching. Let them know that you feel like it's valuable. Hit that share button. Now, Before I move into this, I want to let you know that this is totally free, and it's not the only thing that I do for free. I also have a Zoom call that I'm happy to donate to you for 30 minutes, so not a long session, and that is called my business assessment consultation. Now, it's the shortened version of it. I do have a paid version of it that goes into a lot more detail, but I want to encourage you to take advantage of this. There's the link across the bottom. I'm going to actually copy that, save that, put that back up. And then in the comments, you should be able to see that coming up shortly, right now. So use that link, sign up for that free 30-minute session. That is for any time between now and in the next 60 days. So if you feel like you could use some help within the next 60 days, well, take advantage of this free help. If you don't think you need any help, you think you've got it all figured out, well, then don't click this link. It's up to you. And also, I like to take one photographer to lunch with me every single week. And I do that with a program I call Lunch with Landers. And the that's not it. That's it. And let me put that into the comments as well so that you know about it. So And every week, I take a photographer to lunch with me. Now, I take the photographer to lunch with me because I'm going anyway. I've been going to the Dominion Country Club for lunch on Tuesdays every Tuesday since 2002 because that's where my Rotary Club meets. Now, Rotary Club's a service organization. And as far as you're concerned, did I put that in there yet? Nope, I didn't. As far as you're concerned, what you'll see is just a speaker. So a speaker comes in, talks about the thing they're passionate about during that time. It could be a CEO, it could be a politician, it could be a sports person. There's all different kinds of people, but you get to hear a point of view that you would never have had an opportunity to hear because of taking advantage of this. And then afterwards, you and I get to visit if you've got time for another 30 minutes or so. Just you and I talking about your life, your goals, your direction. So, Lunch with Landers. Take advantage of that. You should see that in the comments right now. Now, I know that it goes to the Facebook pages and the YouTube channels. I don't know if it shows up in the LinkedIn page. So that's why it's up on the screen right now. You can screenshot that and go to that address when you have a chance to sign up for Lunch with Landers. Totally free. You just have to show up. So, oh man, I'm hoping you're having a wonderful time moving in the direction of your dreams. And I'm hoping that today, with the topic that we have today, that you are going to be enhanced in your goals, that the things that you're doing will become even better, become even easier, become even more clear. Of course, we don't want things to be easy. We want things to be better understood by us, and we're able to take care of it because making things easy doesn't solve the problem. It makes it where the barrier to entry is lower and there's more people competing against you. So if you want things easier, then you're also asking for more competition. It's part of the deal. I'm going to talk more about that today. So, how a busy person makes 10,000 a month. By the way, I'm going to look at the comments real quick before I move directly into that. Let's see. A couple of shout outs. Hey, Eric from Orlando. Yeah, I was just looking at your Facebook page just a little while ago. I saw that you had visited the Harley on your way there, the Harley Davidson dealer. I don't know if it was there or somewhere along the way. So I know you're having fun. Miguel, how's it going, Miguel? Several different Facebook users. You guys want to remain anonymous. I get it. Uh, let's see. Hey, Brenda, glad you're here. And Juan, more Facebook users, lots of Facebook users. The Facebook user just tells me that you haven't yet clicked on the streamyard.com/Facebook to give permission for me to know who you are. Or it didn't work because there's some systems, and I think they're Mac, that actually that doesn't work. So yeah, it doesn't work for everybody. Stacia's here. Hey, Stacia. And wow, it's a bunch of you. I'm gonna skip because there's too many. Sonia, glad you're here. Tony, glad you're here. Steve, glad you're here. Oh, man. All right. Wonderful seeing you guys. Keep on telling me that you guys are here just by hitting that hashtag live. Now, we are here today to talk about how a busy person is going to bring in over 10,000 a month as a portrait photographer. Now, in the comments, I want you to share maybe a question that you have or a thought that you have about building a business. And that could be just one word. It could be marketing. It could be prices, whatever it is that's on your mind right now, whatever's weighing heavy. Tell me what that is. It could be in the form of a question. It could be in the form of a single word. But if you don't really want to share it with everybody, just put in the first initial of it because there are some things that are weighing heavy on your mind that you're not interested right now in sharing with everybody. Just put the first letter. That way you're participating. But right now in the comments, let me know what you're thinking about. What's weighing heavy? Maybe something that we go over today will help with that. Let's see. Uh, hey, Amanda. Glad you're here. All right. So we're talking about how a busy person makes 10,000 or more a month. So it seems like everyone is busy, but some people really are. And you may be one of them because you've got responsibilities like kids, extended family, car troubles, home repairs, illness, paying the bills, making time to learn and grow in your business, and so much more that you're dealing with that take up your time, that make you crazy busy. With all the things that you have going on, the things that you have to deal with, can you really take on any more work? Because maybe you can. And then again, maybe you can't. You might have to consider dropping something to make things happen that you want to happen. But that's easier said than done. If we only did the things that were most important, we would find some extra time and make things happen, right? Well, it seems like there are those who are just as busy as us who somehow, seemingly effortlessly, are building their businesses into something that we thought we wanted, that we know we want. Okay, it isn't easy. It takes hard work, it takes dedication, it takes relentlessness. We sometimes think we want things to be easier, but what we truly want is for us to become better. You can do this. You are freaking amazing. You have a creative mind that can figure out most anything. You rock. So be the person you were meant to be beginning today. Focus your attention on what it takes and get on your ideal path with everything you've got. There are a lot of really busy, highly successful photographers out there. And I say busy, I don't mean just that their schedule is full with lots and lots of business. I mean, they've got a lot of stuff going on in their life, just like you. So, how'd they do that? Success has nothing to do with being busy and everything to do with focusing on what is important to reach your goals. That being said, it's an advantage to be a busy person. I'm going to spend just a moment with that thought. When someone has only a few things to do for the day, many will take their time. They'll have their attention easily diverted by anything, by the sounds that they hear, by social media, and sometimes they wind up not getting even those few things done. You may have had a day that it was just like that. Conversely, when you're busy, you purposefully plan your day to reach your goals. Distractions are more easily ignored, And you pay attention to the amount of time that things are taking, causing you to become more efficient over time. So that adage is true. If you want something done, give it to a busy person. You've heard it before because they have figured out how to make things happen, how to plan, how to build systems, how to maximize resources, how to minimize distractions and time wasters. Because of their strong ability to deal with so many variables, the busy person recognizes they can that there's times when they can't accept anymore and they know when they have to pass. Or if it's possible, they will figure out a way to juggle these new things into their schedule to make it happen. The busy person is reliable, and they likely became busy because they were reliable. Now, we don't just start off with a perfect life. We don't start off with the perfect ideal income. We go through a process to get there. So before I get to the specifics, the details, the thoughts, the things I want to share about how to make 10,000 plus per month in portrait photography, I must begin at the beginning. And let's just say that that's where you are right now. So the first thing we need to do is define what you want. It's an excuse to say, well, I don't know what I want yet. There, okay, no excuses are allowed on the Portrait Profit Show. I want you to be successful at reaching your goals, not an expert at giving excuses or reasons. By the way, your reasons are still just an excuse. You're just giving a euphemism to your excuses. You must define what it is that you want, especially when you're not sure. We have to know what direction we're driving in if we're on the road. It's not enough to have a car and a road. We've got to know which way to turn on the road. Out of the thousands of photographers that I've worked with over the years, the vast majority haven't or hadn't, I should say, written down their goals, which means I can say with certainty this message is for you. You cannot reach your destination if you fail to define what your destination is. Let me put that up on the screen so you can write that out if you want to. You cannot reach your destination if you fail to define what your destination is. You're setting yourself up to fail. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much passion you have, no matter how dedicated you are, no matter how much money you have available, no matter how successful you think you are or could be. Do you really think you could get to Timbuktu by accident? Now, you may think, well, that's out in the middle of Africa. That's a difficult journey. I don't think I don't have any interest in making it. It's easier to get to Timbuktu than it is to plan your business and execute that plan. But it's using the same tools. You've defined where you're going, so therefore, you've given yourself the potential to reach it. Defining your goals is what gives you the potential to reach whatever definition of success that you have defined. You must define it, though. If this makes sense to you, in the comments, say yes. Just let me know that you're understanding what it is that I'm saying, that it's making some kind of a difference, that you're feeling this, that you understand that defining your goals is the thing that gives you potential to reach them. Are you following? Do you agree? Do you see it? Just say yes. You can say more if you want to, but let me know that you're hearing this. I love the interaction. And if you're hearing something you like, hit that like button. If you're hearing something you love, hit that love button This does good things for me. It makes me want to keep on going. It powers me. It's like adding a little fuel to the energy fuel tank inside of me. Let me know. You hearing it? Is it good for you? Now, I want to share with you something that you might have known before, but I'm going to add this in. There's two main parts. Now, there's a lot of parts to this. There's two that I wanted to go over today. The two parts of the entrepreneur's foundation, what we are based on. Now, we're photographers. We have a small business, and for most of us, it's just a one person show. It's just you. Now, maybe you have a significant other who's helping you along the way, but they've got other interests too. Maybe you have a staff. Maybe you have a person or two of uh, an assistant of some sort. Maybe you have other photographers that are working for you. Maybe you have grown into something else, but that's not what most photographers do. Most photographers are by themselves, independent. Doesn't matter what it is that you are or choose to be, it's up to you, but you definitely have to define it. So, these two parts. The first one, put that up on the screen right now. Define who you are and what you want out of this life. We talked about it earlier. You must define your destination in order to give yourself potential to reach it. Not defining what ideal is for your life is like you're out driving a car, but you don't know where to drive to. Some will take a small step and define their philosophies, such as I always strive to be the best I can be, or I want to be successful in whatever I do and make a positive impact on the world around me. How about I believe that anything is possible if you put your mind to it and work hard. How about I am continually learning and growing. I'm always open to new opportunities. How about this one? I want to make a difference in the world and I believe that this life is meant to be lived to its fullest. Or I'm grateful for everything that I have and I'm always looking for ways to give back. And then how about I am constantly evolving? I'm always on the lookout for ways to improve myself. Maybe one more. How about I believe that we all have the potential to be great, and I strive to reach my full potential every day. Those all sound really good. And as an affirmation, they're great. But these do little to determine what you want to have in this life. Those are just philosophies. Those are not destinations. We've got to define where we want to go. Instead, think about it. Think about what is it that you want to experience with all those good intentions and goodwill. What is it that you want to experience during this lifetime? What do you want to have? What do you want to share? Ideally, I want you to brainstorm. Take away all the hindrances of money, of time, of age. Let your mind flow without holding anything back. I want you to be realistic. So you've heard me say this before. If your goal is to be the first portrait photographer on the moon or on Mars, okay, so that's a little bit out of realistic today. Maybe for your kids, your grandkids, but it's a little bit out of it's too far out for today. But anything that is possible that you can think of, realistic, that people have achieved, but you haven't yet, brainstorm these things. Don't hold back. Define who you are and what you want by what makes you define what makes you happy, what energizes you, what excites you, what gets you up in the morning with enthusiasm. There's times when you wake up with enthusiasm and you're ready to go. There's times where You wouldn't describe it that way. So, on those times when you get up and you're excited to go, what is it that caused that? Plan that into your life. Make that your norm. You are a self employed photographer. If you don't have that, it's because you haven't chosen to make it happen, not because it's not possible. Others are doing it. You're next. What do you want to experience? What do you want to have in your life? I said there were two things. The second is, what kind of business do you want to provide? So define what kind of business that you're going to provide or you do provide, and to whom you provide it. So we're talking about target market, and we'll come to that in a second. So your goal is to become laser focused on your brand and gearing your message to your ideal target market. Portrait photography is competitive, in case you didn't know. But I want you to avoid those who tell you that it is saturated with photographers. These are people who haven't figured things out yet, unless they're talking about something very specific. Because the only place where portrait photography is saturated is in the low sales average end, which is a place where you are unlikely to reach profitability unless you are choosing consciously to be a high volume photographer, which is an option. It's not what I specialize in. I specialize in low volume portrait photography, and most photographers do. But most photographers haven't defined it yet, and so they're kind of all across the board. They're not in anything in particular, and so it's difficult to nail them down as to who they are, and it makes it easier for me to sell against you because I'm very clear on what it is that I do. I specialize in emotional, beautiful family portraits as home decor. I make it very easy to understand what it is that I do. You are a tool to help clients get what it is that they want. So describe the tool so clearly that those who need it only see you. Otherwise, you have made yourself a part of the crowd. One of the many questions that I get is, how do I stand out from the crowd of photographers? Well, here's the answer. Define who you are so that you can properly describe yourself. You are a tool amongst many other potentially similar tools, at least from the prospect's point of view. You must define your differentiators, the things about you and your business that are specifically different and unique. If you cannot describe your business in a way that is so completely obvious to your target market as being exactly what it is that they want, then you've not done a sufficient job of defining what it is that you do. When you have done this effectively, your ideal client sees you clearly. Now, let's say you don't have an idea really of what kind of photography you want to specialize in. All right, here's some things to consider. What are you passionate about? What kind of subjects do you enjoy photographing the most? Consider, what do you have the most experience with? I'd say passion's number one, but what do you have experience with is an important variable too. And then, what is there a demand for? For instance, years ago, really early on, as far as me teaching, so it's probably, oh, back probably year 2000. So I'd only been teaching for 4 years at that point. So this particular, I'm not going to tell you her name. I'm not going to tell you the type of photography she was interested in photographing. I will just tell you that the type of photography she was interested most in photographing was something that I don't think there was a market for. There was little demand, if any, for this particular thing. Now, most people don't choose something that has almost no demand, but it was what she enjoyed doing. It was fun. It wound up being a phase, and I thought I could see that, but you never know. And I didn't say that to her because I didn't want to hurt her feelings or upset her. But I did give her suggestions on some other thoughts, other directions to head into. But there has to be a demand. But overall, it's what is your passion for? Because you create your own demand. That's why it's third on this short list of things to consider about specializing. Now, let's move into that target market. Who is your target market? Your target market is made up of people who you want to work with. This is not just the type of photography you want to do, but the personality that you want to work with and more. So build a profile of your perfect client. Who are they? What's their age, their income, their profession, their gender, the geographic region? What do they like to do? Where are they spending their money? What do they want? What types of service are they expecting? What do they care about? Their values, their beliefs, their interests. When you target a well-defined niche market, it's easier for you to stand out from the crowd of photographers. Plus, it tells you where to find these prospects and how to get their attention. Intrigue your target market, and you become a field of one. No price comparison, no visiting with other photographers. It's just you creating your own demand. Of course, we also have to define what is our product and service. Your marketing message, of course, can't be anything I offer or anything I can press the button in front of. It must be specific so your target market can paint a picture in their head so they can visualize this. So, what are you selling? What will you solve for them? What do they want? When you understand your target market's needs, requirements, and when and wants, you can constantly and consistently exceed or at least meet their needs. And of course, be able to communicate your value in a way that gets their attention. You, of course, have to create an experience that's worth paying for. If your target market does not understand the value, if you are unclear, if you add irrelevant stuff, if there is the slightest bit of confusion, they will not hire you, at least right away. And if they don't hire you right away, they may not hire you at all. That's why we have to have an incredibly clear, easy to understand message. Now, a word about strategic planning. So I won't spend a whole lot of time with this. By the way, we'll go into more of that in next week's episode because it's along these same lines. It's and I'll put that up on the screen temporarily. It's from dream to full time in 6 months, not weeks. And that's this coming Monday at noon. Dream to full time in 6 months. These will be the steps that we need to take. Right now, we're talking about the thoughts, philosophies, direction, but we'll be talking about the specific steps that need to be taken. So put this on your calendar. I'll mention it again at the end of the show. But dream to full time in 6 months is what's coming up. But uh, for ask this question of yourself: for my goals to be reached, what must happen? For your 5-year goals, what must happen in years 1 through 5? To get to your 1-year goals, what must happen over the next 12 months? To get to my next month's goals, what must happen over the next 30 days? To get to my next week's goals, what must I do over the next 7 days? To get to tomorrow's goals, what must I do today? Through understanding and deciding on priorities, what steps are going to be needed, and follow through, you're going to succeed at reaching your goals. You are employing thorough understanding of your goals, proper planning, scheduling, follow through, and you are adjusting as you go, of course, because things go off track. And even that overall is positive when things go off track. It's not positive when you're experiencing it. When things go off track, you're going to be frustrated with it, but it keeps you vigilant. It keeps you constantly looking for new ways to improve. I'd put that in the win category in hindsight. When you plan, you become well aware of the things that you need to do and what things need to get done that you cannot do and must seek other solutions. Delegation, hiring, um, getting a virtual assistant, etc. There are too many things going on in your life to even attempt to do everything. Use resources to maximize your time. You just don't know which ones to choose until you've been very clear on what it is you're trying to accomplish, when how much time it takes to accomplish it. Because you have things that you need to accomplish, but everything's going to take a different period of time. That's why I recommend timelining when you are putting these things together. When you've defined what my destination is, what is the timeline that's going to take to so that I can get there? Break that up. These destinations that you want, these are things in your life that you want, and I do mention destination as singular. Destination is all of the destinations that you have, all the different things that you want to achieve throughout this life. Now, what could that mean? Maybe you want a house in a nicer neighborhood. Maybe you want a new car. Maybe you want to go a specific place in the world, so some vacations. Maybe you want a lake house. Maybe you want a boat. Whatever it is, these are different destinations. I put them in the category of destination. If I have a circle here with all the things you want, I'm labeling it destination. You can put an S there if you want to. A word about the day-to-day grind, just a word. Begin each day without your phone. Man, those are words that I don't even follow. But when I don't begin the day with my phone, things seem less rushed. I mean, when I get up, I want to check. I want to see, is there someone who sent me an email? Is there a Facebook message? Is there a text? Somebody has got a question and I need to help. I want to help. I mean, it's what I do for my income source is I help photographers. So therefore I want that. And so I get up looking for it. But I need some me time. You need some me time. Might as well start the day off with it. Maybe plan something into it. But I'm recommending that you begin the day without your phone if you can. Instead, begin well, once you get to start working on your work day, once you've done the things, your normal routine for the morning, but and you've begun your work day, begin by reviewing your 4 core statements. Now, if you've watched this show for any period of time, you may have heard me talk about the 4 core statements. If this is your first time, you haven't heard this before, so I'm just gonna tell you. Mission statement, value statement, vision statement, and positioning statement. I'm not going to go into detail on those. I have in other classes. You can go back into the newsfeed or onto the YouTube channel to watch those, where I go into more detail on those, or sign up for my business assessment consultation. You got the link earlier. It's up. It's further out in the news feed. Just sign up for that, and we can talk about it. So, mission, value, vision, positioning. Review those daily. That keeps you on track. This is who you are. Now, I also recommend reviewing what your destinations are, the things you want to reach, and your timeline to get there, but also what you have already reached. Celebrate those. Celebrate them when you do it and later also. Because if you're only looking at what you haven't done yet, there are times when that feels tough, where it feels like I can't get things done, like I'm not reaching my goals. No, keep the things that you have accomplished fresh on your mind too, because Like I said before, you are wonderful. You are fantastic. You're a creative. You have a mind that can figure most anything out. You freaking rock. And you know it. Somewhere deep inside, you know it. You may not be feeling it right now, but you rock. And I'm right here with you to help you do what you want to do. When you're ready for me, I'll help. Now, let's talk about the 3 steps to conveying a marketing message. Now, why would I be talking about that? Because you have defined who you are and what it is that you want. You've defined what product it is that you sell and who you are and who you want to work with, all these great things. Now we need to do a good job of conveying that message so we attract our target market. So the first thing we want to do is define how many sales that we need to make in order to reach our goals. Our goal is to reach 10,000 plus a month, at least according to the title of today's show. So that number needs to be 10,000 or greater. Whatever's appropriate for you, put that number down. It's just a math problem. I know some of you, when I say math in my classes, I've heard this sound. Uh, yeah, I get it. I know. It's real simple math. Write down what your goal is. How much do you need to make in order to reach whatever goal you have? What's the dollar figure? So in this instance, it's 10,000. 10. Right. So how many sales do we need to make? Well, if your average sale is $10,000, you need to make 1 sale, right? Simple math. If your average sale is 5,000, you need to make 2. If your average sale is $2,500, you need to make 4. You get the picture, right? What's your average sale? If you don't know it, that's fine. If you've been doing this for a while, you really should know. If you need help with that, it's what I do. Reach out to me. I help with that kind of thing. But we need to know what our average sale is. Now, depending on the type of work that we're doing, this average sale could be different. For instance, if you're doing mini sessions are designed to spend a whole lot less time so that you can fit a whole lot more quantity in. By the way, some of you guys are real mistaken on what the definition of a mini session is. It's not a short session. I mean, it is short, but it's not singular. It has to be set up to be multiple, one right after the other. Driving somewhere and doing a 10-minute session and driving back, the session itself may have been really short. 10 minutes is pretty short. But all that drive time, all the prep that went into it, man, if you'd have just driven to that one place once, did 5, 10 subjects, different groups, and then got paid for each one of those, that's a mini session. Doing 1? Come on, you're fooling yourself. You're losing money on the deal. I know you may not feel like it, but if you give me the time, I'll show you how you're losing money. More photographers are losing money than are even breaking even. And very few are aware of it. They're aware they need to raise their prices. They get that. Sorta. They're aware in their mind that it's a concept that makes sense, but they aren't aware enough for it to stick, for it to hold, for it to have a reason. I can give you that reason because it's simple math. It's based on what you want out of this life. I can help. Number 2, I want you to create an irresistible or a cool offer. So I'll spend a little bit more time with this one. Choose or create what it is that you want to photograph. For the quickest response, be very specific and give it both a time and a number of sessions that you have available. Now, unless it's a mini session, I would say don't put prices on it. For mini sessions, I would put the price on it. There's everything is different on this one, and you can probably answer that for yourself, or I'm happy to help. We want to convey emotional value though, and give them a reason to contact us. If price is the only reason we're giving for someone to contact us, then I guess we're more in that high volume category. I don't recommend price being the reason why you have people call you though. Yeah, uh, my opinion. You don't have to share it. People invest in photography, in my opinion, for emotional reasons. Portrait photography. I'm not talking about all types of photography, but portrait photography. People invest in portrait photography for emotional reasons, not logical ones. So it's important to find that emotional approach. in creation, in design of your marketing. And I believe that stories make a big difference in conveying what it is that you do. Stories sell, facts tell, but stories cause you to sell. So I recommend using stories to help illustrate your goals and include a personal story. And you know what? Y- your responses soar when they can emotionally connect to you. Now, about mini sessions, define what it is you want to photograph. Make it something that requires very few steps, so it reduces the amount of time you're spending with each client, and little interaction with them. Be able to sell it through automation purposes. Like we do Santa pictures, and we have it set up where we just send out an email to our past clients, and all they do is click on that link. It takes them to our calendar. They choose a date, they pay, they're on our calendar. That's about as little interaction as you could get. Totally different from our regular sessions where we require a a planning session. So there's no planning session in a mini session because you do that planning for everyone. You do it for them. You tell them how it's going to be. Let's define what makes your offer irresistible. So we have to have a call to action. What is it that we want them to do next in order to do business with us? What is it that we want them to do? Next is choose a deadline. Fairly short period of time, usually. This causes them to respond quickly. And you don't want this to be something that they can put off until later because if they don't act now, it's going to be too late. Define the number of sessions that you're going to have. So once you have 8, 10, 20, whatever your number is, that's it. This will cause people to act now. And then, of course, you want, by the way, I've seen times when when a photographer's marketing didn't have a headline. You have to have a headline. And it's got to be catchy, something that gets their attention, a hook. If there's one thing that could be considered the most important in your marketing piece, it's the headline. Every marketing piece and every website must have a headline. Clever is good, but make sure no matter what that you include a headline. It's more important than your logo is. Now, you may want to consider coming up with an added value, a bonus, a gift. Not free photographs though. How about something that's photography related, a frame, a special presentation folder or folio, and photography planning service if you don't normally do that. I normally do that. A scouting session, uh, and maybe you could consider things that aren't photography related. Um, It must be target market related though. So maybe it's theater tickets, symphony tickets, dinner for 2. Oh, you know what? I think the symphony closed again, so maybe not that one. Dinner for 2, gift certificate to a jeweler, gift certificate to a florist. By the way, in some of my classes, my marketing classes, I talk about how to give some of these gift certificates without it costing you anything. Because those other business owners, when you make alliances with them, they're trying to grow too. And if they can leverage your list and you can leverage theirs, well, you've got a win-win situation. That's for a different time. Number 3, create the structure for making this all happen. So we've got these good ideas of crafting a good message, defining what it is that we're trying to accomplish so that we can actually plan a path to get there. But now we've got to create that structure for making it happen. So we're going to create what we want to photograph. We're going to be very specific. We're going to define what we want to photograph. We're going to create marketing images. We're going to write down the process that your client must take in order to do business with you. By the way, when you do that, you'll see holes, you'll see gaps, you'll see ways to improve. Write down your process. What is it that you have to do in order to get this job to completion? When you write it all out, not just keep it in your head, you will see areas where you can improve. And I recommend that you add in areas that cause your client to have the potential to say, "Oh wow," because you get the power, the value of the wow. when you add that in. And when you add those all these wow categories, you're giving them lots of things to share with friends and family. You want to give them shareable experiences. You want to give them a reason for sharing what it is that you do, for giving testimonials. All right. As far as your email sequence, the posts that you make in social media, maybe if you do ads, decide how many sequences you want for your marketing campaign. I'd say there has to be at least 3. Let's say it's an email sequence. There has to be a minimum of 3. I'm thinking 5 to 7 is the right number, but there's gotta be a minimum of 3, and you've got to prepare these ahead of time. By the way, in other classes, I go into a lot of detail on what that is. I even give you scripts in my main classes, my main programs, where you don't even have to think about these. You just use my scripts and tweak it to make it your own. Um, but that's the paid version, of course. And so uh, you've already defined who you are. You know who they are. You know who should listen to what it is that you have to say. Um, give them more than one way to respond, but make it easy. So let's say they have a question. How do they ask that question? Because if your goal is to send them straight to a calendar and payment, but you give them no opportunity to ask a question, you'll lose that guy. So give them an easy way to reach you. Make it clear. Make it easy. And anytime you have something that is written that's of any length, if it's just a few sentences, this doesn't matter. But if it has a little bit of length to it, you've got to explain it just a little bit, then give a dual readership path, meaning have some way so that they can scan it, where you've got maybe the headlines big and bold, where they could get the general understanding, the gist, by just reading those main things. Dual readership path for skimmers and for people who read through. There are more people who just skim through than there are people who read every word. I'm sure you know that, though. You've got to be persuasive. You need to get your clients to act now. Now, how do we do that? Well, one way is what I call smile and dial. Word. You've got people who you've worked with before. You have people that you like. Call them and tell them what it is that you're doing. So using your database, maybe you're offering a special, maybe you're giving a special offer. I would say call a minimum of 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. You give the right number. But if it's only 5 in a week, you've called 25 people who didn't know what you were doing. Smile and dial. I go into a lot more detail in other classes, but there's the surface level version. Maybe you want to give a gift. I mentioned earlier about adding something value added. I, I've done this in several different ways. Let's see. Um, you know what? I used to do weddings and bridal portraits. And so every single bride that I was doing a bridal portrait with would get not a fake bouquet of flowers, a real bouquet of flowers. And I didn't pay for it. The florist did. That's because of the relationship I had with the florist. But every single one of them at their that bridal portrait session got a fresh bouquet of flowers to hold during the I mean, it's not gonna be the same one they have at the wedding, but it's fresh flowers, not fake ones. So you build those kinds of relationships. Maybe you want to do a special, uh, so that was give a gift. Maybe you wanna do a special session. Now, that could be a personal project that you're working on, a mini session. Maybe you're posting some kind of incredible deal with today is the deadline if you're trying to make this happen immediately. So give a good reason why you would have today as the deadline or a short period of time. So you've got that limited time. Maybe you have the limited number available. Maybe you have a temporary location. You've only got this place for the day and for some day in the future, and you need to fill your schedule today. Value added bonus, like I mentioned before. So no matter what, no matter what direction you take, whatever these ideas and thoughts, whatever it is that you have used, whatever it is that you want to add to what it is you're doing now or tomorrow, no matter what, you must take control and not give reasons why you're not in control. Take control. No excuses. I'll let you take a look at this little graphic I made. Excuses are what the dumpster of failure is filled with. Take on the mindset that you will do what it takes to make it work for both you and your clients. You don't need to accommodate every single request. You don't want to blame other people for when things don't go right. Instead, always be a solution seeker. You are the business owner. If not you, then who? Be a solution seeker, not a blame maker. Do not blame others. Instead, you are always a solution seeker. Have confidence in your abilities, your creativity, your positive concern and caring for others. Your solution seeking positive mindset will increase your confidence and elevate how others view you. Your target market does not associate people in complain mode as sources for luxury items. You sell a luxury item. Start thinking like you are equivalent to other luxury items because you are. People don't need what it is that you sell. There are types of photography that people need. Portrait photography, generally speaking, is a want. It's a luxury. Make sure that is in your mindset at every step of the process. It makes it difficult if it's not. It makes it easier if it is. I'm looking at the time. I'm going to skip part of this. All right. So while I'm looking what parts I'm going to skip because I just looked at the time, any thoughts that you guys have, any questions you want to share? If you're hearing things that you believe in, let me know that it's helping. Is what I'm doing a benefit to you? Give me a yes. Or it's helping, or I love this. Let me know what it is that you feel. I of course appreciate when someone says thank you. I'm saying thank you for just being here. Thank you for giving your time to me. It takes me multiple hours to put this together. It took me 12 hours to put this together. And so, but I am happy to give this gift. I want to lift the photographer community. We have the ability to all be making 10,000 plus easily without a problem. If you feel that's for you to be making 10,000 plus per month, tell me. I can do this. Let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts? Any questions? I like seeing those yeses. I love seeing those. I love this. I love seeing the thank yous. Let me take that off real quick. Lots of yeses. Whew, man, I love seeing that. By the way, if you guys are watching live, do me a favor if you haven't already. Enter in hashtag live into the comments. Hashtag live. Man, I'm glad you guys are here. Steve, Francis, you guys are awesome. Stacia, Miguel, you guys rock. Cool. Good seeing all of you guys here. All right, so I'm going to skip to continuing education. You guys are here continuing your education. Got to keep that up. You are an expert, but that doesn't mean you've learned everything that you should or to the extent that you should. There's always more to learn. I've been studying photography since 1975. And hopefully in your mind, you're saying, you don't look old enough for that to be true. And if that's what you're thinking, thank you. I like you. But that's the truth. I've been studying photography since 1975. I was only 6 when I started studying photography. Now, that doesn't mean I studied it every day. Doesn't mean that at all. There could be huge gaps of time where I wasn't studying, but that's when I began. And I guarantee you, if there's one thing that I've learned over this period of time, so my interest when it began, getting a college degree in photography, being a full-time photographer for the last 30 years, If there's one thing that I have learned, it's there's always more to learn. Even if you take out that variable of technology always changing. Photography alone, there is so much to learn that if you studied photography alone, not the technology that's been added in recent years, there's so much you could learn that if you studied it every single day for the rest of your life as your full-time job, you would never learn all there is to know. So never get to the point where you feel like, "Ah, I've got this. I don't need that." You need that. I need that. Continuing education. Make time to add education to your calendar and to your budget. How much? Well, I'd say as far as marketing, I'd put about 7% aside for marketing. How much for education? Probably about the same. Yeah. There's plenty of free things out there. Take advantage of those. But if that's the only thing you're doing, that's not enough, guys. Take advantage of different opportunities that you find out there. There's classes, there's programs, there's all kinds of wonderful things that myself and others are providing to help uplift the photography community. Take advantage of all of those things. Join organizations. You could join our Camera Club Photo SA. You could join your local PPA affiliate. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, so that would be PPSA. Portrait Photographers of San Antonio. There's actually a G in there, but I don't usually say it. So there is a lot of opportunities for you to take advantage of. Take workshops, seminars, classes, programs, ongoing coaching. How many of you have a business coach? Guys, you're in business. You're not the expert in business, not most of us. At least we don't start off that way. Get a business coach. Is that too expensive? I understand how that's too expensive at first. But doing so causes you to make so much more than what you're paying that it soon becomes something you don't even care about anymore because of the difference of you being able to move in the direction that you already have in you. You just hadn't exposed yet. I mean, what about other professions? Do they profess themselves as being self-taught? I mean, if you see a doctor or a lawyer or teacher doing that, of course, that's illegal in their fields. But shouldn't we take it seriously enough where we seek out experts instead of elevating ourselves as an expert teacher and we just teach ourselves? Self-taught is not something that should be bragged about, guys. That's fine, but it can't be the top because it's not. We have to elevate ourselves beyond ourselves. We aren't the expert. We're training under someone who's not an expert. How smart is that? Yeah, continuing education. It never ends. And it's fun. And it makes us the person that we were always meant to be. So, as a result of today's message, what are you going to do differently? You're already doing what you love. It's now time to eliminate the struggle and finally start living the life that you have maybe only dreamed of or not even allowed yourself to do that. If you're passionate and up for a fantastic challenge, portrait photography is an incredibly rewarding career. I'm here to assist you if you need help in creating that life that you want, in defining that life that you want, because most of us really don't know. And that's fine. That's a blank slate. I help you to learn the secrets to working less and making more. I help you to price your products and your services correctly and correctly for you and your goals. Pricing has nothing, guys, to do with what other photographers charge. Nothing. If you're comparing your prices against someone else and you're making adjustments because of that, you're doing it wrong. Now, that doesn't mean don't look at other people's prices. That's fine. That's curiosity. It's part of learning. but it has nothing, zero to do with your prices. Nothing. And I can mathematically prove that to those with an open mind. Those who don't have that open mind are going to struggle. It's going to be difficult for them, or more difficult than it has to be. And I can help you build a business where many of your systems are run on autopilot. All you have to do is reach out. I hope that this episode of the Portrait Profit Show has been beneficial to you. I hope that something resonates with you, that you can learn from, that you can grow from. As you know, we have the Portrait Profit Show every single Monday. And I'm going to tell you some of the shows that we have that are coming up, because every single Monday at noon we have another show, except for the second Monday of every single month where we do a panel version of it, and we do that at 6:30 in the evening. Put it on your calendar now. Don't miss any episodes, and make sure you share this with others. But our next show on, let's see, next week, and I already mentioned this, is Dream to Full Time in 6 months. These are steps. What does it take to go from that dream of having a photography business as being a full-time photographer, not having something else, or reducing that something else in the process of getting to full-time as a portrait photographer? We're going to talk about that next week, noon. So let's put that up. There we go. Dream to full time in 6 months. That's the last Monday of November. And then on December 5th, we have what the things that what 2022 has taught photographers. And I just realized that is spelled wrong. Now I've got it. What 2022 has taught photographers. Man, there's a lot of stuff that's happened over the last year. We're going to talk about some of those things. I want you to show up so you can see if you learned them. And if you haven't, well, you have an opportunity to become aware of them. That's what's coming up on December 5th. And then on December 12th is a panel about what I learned this year. So very similar to the one before it. But this will be a panel of 3 photographers who have already agreed to do it. And I could tell you their names, but I'm going to hold on to that for just a little while. But what have I learned over the last year? They're going to share this. I'm going to ask them questions. They're going to respond. You're going to be able to hear these things from multiple points of view. So, what have I learned this year? And then on December 19th, it's what to do before the end of the year. There's some things that you really need to get done before the end of the year, and some of you are doing them, but many of you, it just hasn't crossed your mind. Come to this episode of the Portrait Profit Show, and you'll know about them. That's what to do before the end of the year. And then to round out the year 2022 on December 26th, the last minute review of next year's plan. Last minute review of your 2023 plan. So those are what is coming up and here on the Portrait Profit Show. I hope you will join me. And I hope again that this episode of the Portrait Profit Show has been beneficial to you. Beneficial to your growth as a professional photographer. These ideas, these steps, the structure for your portrait photography business, there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things that you have to consider. But there are some things that really need to be pulled out. You are busy. Yes, you are. But there's some things that you're busy with that aren't beneficial to your goals. But the only way you know that is by defining what the end result is supposed to be, the destination. When you've defined the destination, the things that are extra that you don't need become obvious. Even some that you would have just sworn beforehand were necessary. But it's because you didn't have that end result to look at, to tell you this is the right way to go. So I'm in San Antonio. Let's say that we wanted to go on a road trip. If I define that I want to go to someplace simple, let's say Houston, I just need to get on I-10 heading east. It's about a 3.5 hour drive unless there's a lot of traffic. So it's an easy path. I know where to go. But too many of us photographers have the car, have the access to the roads, and just get out on the road without defining where it is that you're going. So you get out on the road, you take this turn, you take that turn, you go down that road because it's got a nice name. You go down that road because it looks like it's going to have a pretty view of the sunset. You go down this road and you get halfway to El Paso when you finally decide, you know what, I want to go to Houston. You have just wasted a huge amount of time. Not that along that path that you had before that and any of those things were wrong. A lot of them were good things, but you have to define where you're going so that you can tell the difference between good and right. The difference between good and bad, that's easy. Anybody can do that. You have to define the difference between good and right in order to reach your destination. Man, I love this stuff. I love to share what I enjoy, and I want you to be successful in your photography business. I'm here to help. It's what I am passionate about. Stratford, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Sorry, I just looked at the comments. Glad you're here. All right, so I'm about to close out this episode of the Portrait Prophet Show. If you feel that this has been beneficial, tell me. Say thank you, or this was great. I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to post some of those. Is you probably seen how I close out the show. I've got some words that I share, and then I have this little short video that shows it's the end, and then I show some of the comments. So I'm going to share some of those comments if you give them to me. Just saying thanks. I appreciate it. I'm going to share this. I'm going to apply this. Whatever it is you want to share, let me know. So for Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Prophet Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography through helpful information, step-by-step processes, and action steps that will help you with the struggles you deal with now so you are constantly realigned to the success you deserve. Be here every Monday to hear a different way of looking at the business side of photography. Thank you for investing your time here at the Portrait Prophet Show. I appreciate you guys. Bye for now.